Hello, and welcome to College Confidential on M6, your hometown station. I'm Cami Bacon, and today we welcome back 3 recent Marysville graduates that have gone on to attend college.
I'm Katey Pepin, and I attend Grand Valley State University, and I am an international business and management major.
I'm Nick Tobiczyk. I attend University at Buffalo, and I am a pre-med student.
I'm Dan Bond. I attend Albion College, and I'm a pre-med student as well.
We will be asking our guests all about the transition from high school to college. So first let me ask you how you made your college decision. Katey?
Well, I picked because I knew I wanted to study business, and I wanted to go to a college that I thought felt right for me. And when I visited Grand Valley, just the feel of the campus felt right with what I wanted.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of it for me was a scholarship I got from the university, but another part was my first trip to the university, which was part of getting that scholarship, and I just fell in love with the place, the people, the campus, everything.
Mm-hmm.
I was very interested in becoming a pre-med major. Albion was a college that I had looked at that was very good for that, and I knew coming into college I wanted to be something in the pre-med or a pharmaceutical major, but that was pretty much my main choices.
So Dan, are there any downsides to the college that you chose? Anything that you regret about it?
I would say that probably the one major downside to the college is the fact that there are very few things to do inside the town. The college is very good about providing things to do, but if you have a night off where the college, or what we have is we call it union board, which basically plans events for the students. If they have a night off or they don't have something scheduled, you're pretty much on your own, and there's not really anything to do in the college since it's pretty much a college town. So,
Nick, what about you? Are there any downsides to yours?
Other than the infamous Buffalo cold, I would say possibly just the fact that it's a bit of a ways from home. Mm-hmm. I'm fine with being out of state. I chose that route, and I'm glad I did, but there are some downsides to being so far away.
What do you think, Katey?
The same thing with Grand Valley is along the same lines of what Dan said. It's a very small school, so sometimes it's hard to find stuff to do, or a lot of people go to other colleges on the weekends, so it's very desolate on the weekends. But other than that, it's a pretty good school.
So, Nick, what were some major factors when you were searching for your college?
A lot of it was a matter of money, scholarship. What scholarships could I get? A lot of the parts were, where would it be, beneficial for me to study pre-med? How far away was it from home? So many different things. But overall, I would say that the biggest factor for it was just how I felt at the school,
right,
and the feel of the school.
Dan, was there anything about the location of the school or the campus that really stuck out to you when you chose Albion?
Well, one thing that I really preferred was that we stayed in Michigan, mainly as a close to home thing. But I kind of enjoy the weather here, as weird as that is to say. Other than that, no, not really.
Okay. What about you, Katey?
Grand Valley is right by Grand Rapids, which is a really cool city to be in. There's a lot of things to do there. And I also like that it's far enough away that I don't feel like I need to come home all the time. But it's also close enough that if something happens, I can be home, or my friends can come see me. So that's a really cool thing about it.
Are there any certain programs at the college that really stuck out to you when you were searching?
I really liked their business program. They have a whole school of business, and it's actually located in downtown Grand Rapids and works with the local businesses to get us real life experience. So we're actually working with companies to help improve what they're already doing. So it's really
cool. What about
cool.
you, Nick?
There's so many extra programs and resources I have at Buffalo. To name them all would take forever. Let's just leave it at there's so much extra opportunity there. They had offered me so much to help me, further my goals and enhance my college experience. It's way too much to list.
Yeah. How about you, Dan?
Well, there were 3 major groups that the college has pretty much provided for me. they all require if you want to be on this, join when you fill out your application. But one of them is called the Ford Institute, and even though it doesn't really go with my major, it's sort of a political community service kind of institute, which I thought was pretty cool because, well, being at Albion and visiting the college, it wasn't exactly the best town, and I thought it would be pretty cool if I could help out. Another one was the honors program, which I did a little bit of research on. What I found when I was looking at the college was that kids in the honors program have about it's close to 100% acceptance rate of the first year that they try to get into a post-grad school. Now, whether it's the post-grad school you want or not, that's a different story. And then the last one is the pre-medical institute, which is pretty much dedicated to people like me who are going into pre-medical study.
We all have very interesting stories on the transition from high school to college. Now we'll take a break, but join us again after for more College Confidential.
They've stormed beaches and freed countries. Protected the weak and defeated the strong. Shown courage and compassion. They've raised our flag and our hope. They've been called leathernecks. They've been called devil dogs. But above all, they're called Marines.
Welcome back to College Confidential. We just got done discussing how each of our guests chose their college. So now we're going to talk about the transition from high school to college. Was it a hard transition for you, Katey?
It was a lot different than what I thought it was. Instead of having your parents and your teachers there to motivate you and go to school and turn in assignments, it's a lot yourself. You have to motivate yourself in what to do and what to complete. So it's different in that way, but if you're able to be self-motivated and it's something you want to do and you want to study, it's a really easy transition.
So Nick, you are obviously out of state, so was it a even harder transition?
You know, you might think so. And I went in there scared to death. I did not consider myself a super independent person, a super self-motivated person, but something about just being there in that college environment just sort of clicked with me, and everything just sort of snapped into place. And it really worked out pretty well, with the exception of laundry. Still figuring out that, but everything else was actually pretty smooth transition. Yeah.
Dan, how was your transition?
Pretty simple. I mean, not too far away from home, but college offered a lot of beginning programs for just the freshmen, and it was a pretty easy transition from high school to college, aside from the workload and the personal drive, I suppose.
Yeah. Will you talk to us a little bit more about the workload? Like, is it a significant amount greater?
Well, at Albion, it's really you can kind of put it on yourself. There's a lot of things that will be assigned or not, and while they may seem very minimal, they can really add up because they might not be due for another 2 days or something when you first get them. But as long as you keep on task and do things when they're assigned, it's not too bad. It's not dangerously suffocating you from high school.
What do you think, Nick?
I would say the workload might be a bit bigger. I think the main problem there, though, is studying is what adds a lot to the workload, because there's a lot more studying you have to do in college than high school, and it's different from the way you study in high school. There's no cramming or anything. You have to be studying, for every day, really. What really helps, though, is the fact that you have a complete syllabus in most schools, in most classes, and usually professors stick to that. So you usually know what your workload's going to be ahead of time, so you can plan accordingly. And that's really key part to
Right.
handling that workload.
What do you think, Katey? Is it the same way for you?
Yeah, it's different in the fact that you have a lot of projects that span over the whole semester. Like in high school, you had a project and you focused on that in class, and
Right.
that's what you worked on as a whole class together. Or here, they'll assign a couple projects that are semester long, and it's more of an independent workload, so you have to stay on task and get it done without having in-class time to work on it. So that's where I found the biggest difference is out-of-class work.
Yeah. So have you been able to handle the responsibilities pretty well?
Yeah, it's pretty easy as long as you stay on track and you keep track of all the stuff you have. Like I had to start a planner just to keep on
Right.
track with all the assignments that I had currently going. But as long as you are motivated and you know what you need to do, then it's really easy.
So, Dan, was it hard to become acquainted with a little bit larger campus than what a typical high school is?
Not really. I mean, it's a very small feel to the campus, and then pretty much all the courses that I took last semester were things that were within the same building, so there wasn't too much walking. You'd have to walk to go to the mess hall, eat your food, and then go back to do the rest of your afternoon classes. But other than that, it wasn't too bad.
So I've never been to University of Buffalo, obviously, Nick, but is it the same way for you, or is it a much larger campus with more people?
You know, it is quite a large campus, especially since there's actually 2 or arguably 3 campuses to University of Buffalo. And yeah, I think what really helps there is that Buffalo, because it's so cold, they actually attach all the buildings to one another through tunnels and hallways and everything. So I can navigate pretty well just by being inside and following the
Right.
signs to each different building. But what's really helped is just the fact that most of my classes weren't too far from my dorm and everything. There are still places where I know my friends have classes that I still don't know where they are. I'm still trying to figure out the campus. So yeah, it takes a bit of exploring, but you can adjust. It's not too bad.
Right. So Katey, I'm sure your experience is a lot more like Dan's, where it's a smaller campus. Is it easy to meet new people at a smaller campus, or is it harder?
It's easy as long as you take the right steps, what you have to do. You know, you just got to get involved right away.
Right.
Like I got involved with the marching band, and that helped me meet so many new people at school. So it's just finding where you want to be and where you want to spend your time and getting involved and meeting people that way.
How about you, Dan? Are you involved in any certain groups?
Well, no, not really. Other than the 3 clubs that I mentioned earlier, it's really they're kind of exclusive. But other than that, nothing particular. The first 3 days that you're on campus at Albion, they basically take you and a group of other freshmen and stick you in a room together, and so you're all kind of in this awkward situation where you have to make it work, so you have to make friends. But other than that, I mean, I'm not really part of anything, but I still have a lot of people that I know from the campus.
How about you, Nick? What are you involved in?
I have attended a lot of different clubs. I'm part of only a very few number, but Buffalo has 130 clubs. You kind of have to pick and choose ones to sample out. And I actually am wearing this UB True Blue, the largest club on campus. Is a student group that goes to all the sporting events to cheer on the team as a group. I'm also part of, interestingly enough, the Asian American Student Union. Most because my roommate and a lot of my friends there are Asian, and they invited me to come one day, and I really like it, so I'm a regular attender for those meetings. But I've also attended at least a dozen other clubs meetings at least once.
Mm-hmm. That's really interesting. Katey, what were you most worried about when you went to college?
I was most worried about adjusting to the classes, you know, going from high school classes to college and not knowing everyone. Because at Marysville, you have the sense like, oh, I know everyone. In all my classes, I could name every person in my class. And you get to college and you have people, even by the end of the semester, you have no idea who they are. And so that worried me a little bit. But once you get out there and you find your friends, and it's not as scary as you think it is. You get to meet a lot of different people who you wouldn't necessarily find in your hometown. So I was glad that I had that experience.
Mm-hmm. Dan, how about you? What's been the hardest part of college?
Well, I was going into college, I would say that I was really worried about mainly having a social life. A lot of my friends back here in Marysville decided that they wanted to stay and do community college for a couple years, and I was set on not doing that. So I didn't really have any friends going into college, and I had looked into who was going to Albion from Marysville, and there wasn't anybody aside from Andrea Yale, who transferred last year. But I would say that was the biggest worry for me. But the first 3 days were kind of eased that stress.
So Nick, you talked about having a roommate. Can you elaborate on that a little bit more?
Yeah, I actually I ended up with a pretty good roommate, Steven. Steven, we get along pretty well, good friends, and he introduced me to a few people he actually knew at the college, which was great because I'm from Michigan. I knew nobody there, and had very little to talk about being from Michigan. So having a roommate like that who introduced me to his friends and just kind of accepted me right from day one. Like, I met him, and it was 1 minute to our first conversation that he invited me to go play basketball with him and his friends. That really helped. Also, it helps that he's a neat freak and I am a slob, so he helps me keep the room clean.
That works out well. Katey, do you have a roommate?
I actually have 3 roommates at college. I live in an apartment style, so we all have our own rooms, but I live with 3 other people. And I went in blind my first year, and it was really interesting. I had a roommate who we did not see eye to eye on anything. She was a lot more open about everything and a lot more liberal than I was, so it was really interesting adjusting to that and having that type of lifestyle in my apartment. But it was a really unique learning opportunity, and I'm not saying we're still friends, but I learned a lot from her. And so it was, even though it wasn't the ideal situation that I was looking for, you learn a lot about yourself and other people living in a huge group like that. So.
Dan, do you have roommates?
I have a roommate. His name's Tim. He's from Grand Rapids, so he's closer to Albion than I am. But it was interesting because he had been at the campus a week before me, and he was in the marching band. So he kind of helped me get more friends as I attended events with him. And an interesting thing at Albion was I took I remember 2 offhand personality tests that that basically let the people figure out who I would be best to room with based on their personality tests. So it was kind of like you were automatically set to be good friends in the beginning, and I'm pretty good friends with him now. So.
Well, it sounds like each of you had a very smooth transition into college. After this break, our guests will give advice to any prospective college students.
The American Legion. We're a powerful force for the nation. We pledge ourselves to our veterans, our youth, a strong national defense, and Americanism. These 4 pillars shape our work and what we do for America. We work relentlessly within our 4 pillars of service, and we succeed. We're committed to making sure all veterans receive the benefits they deserve for the sacrifices they've made in service to America. We support and promote citizenship and integrity in America's future leaders. We know what policies, tools, and manpower our military needs to protect this great country. We fight to get these things done. We're patriots through and through. We promote and defend these values every day in communities across the nation. Go to legion.org to find out more about the American Legion's commitment of service to America.
Hello, and thanks for joining us again on College Confidential. We just got done discussing the transition from high school to college and everyone's experience here. So, what advice do you have for seniors that are planning on going to college? Katey?
If you're planning on going to college, you really have to pick the college that fits you and what you want out of your university. So I really recommend, if you haven't already, go and see the schools and actually tour the schools and meet with people who go there and talk with people about their experiences, because any college you go to, you get a different, unique experience. And it's really, I found it really helpful that I picked a university that fit well with me and what I wanted and the type of feel that I wanted from a school. So really just think about what you want and go and actually see the schools, because they're different on paper than they are in person.
Nick, do you have advice?
Keep your options open for different colleges and apply anywhere you really can. I mean, I never thought I was going to go to Buffalo. In fact, me and my dad joked about Buffalo, saying there was no chance I would ever go there, because my mother found the school. She found out about it. She found out about the scholarship that I ended up getting. And I applied for it just to appease her, and we went there because I got to the next stage of the competitive scholarship, and I fell in love with the place. And the places I originally considered, a lot of them, I just really didn't feel like I was at home there. And like Katey said, it's got to be something that you feel you can, be there. That because once you go to a college, you'll know. I mean, maybe not right at the beginning, but after you're done there, you'll know whether you can see yourself there or not. And that's really important in picking your college.
So would you definitely recommend applying at more than one school?
Oh yes, definitely. Apply anywhere you really can. The Common app is a great way of doing just spreading out different schools. But apply anywhere you think you even remotely might have a chance of liking or wanting to go to. Check it out. At least go there and see it before you write it off.
Dan, do you have any advice?
Just basically what Nick was saying, apply everywhere. Like you said, the Common App is a good place to do that. If you find a school that you don't really know much about, or you just found while researching different things for colleges that you might be interested in, and it's free to apply, just apply right away. The sooner that you get your application in, the better, because each college is set at how many students they're going to take. So if you apply before a student that might be technically better than you or better qualified to that college, but they've already exceeded their limit, then you're in and they're not. So, yep.
Would you recommend Albion College?
Yeah, I would definitely. I would say it's definitely not for everybody. There's a lot of education majors there and a lot of biology majors. I'd say that if you are interested in either of those, that's definitely a good place to go. Other than that, you'd have to look yourself and make sure that it's a good place for you. But I definitely enjoy it.
Nick, would you recommend university?
I would. I know I like Bond. I would say it's not for everybody, especially if it's out of state for people around here. It's not an option for everybody. But I love it there. They have plenty of opportunities for scholarships and everything to make the out of state tuition easier, or even non-existent in my case. And Buffalo is just great for pre-med students like me. They also have a lot of pre-pharmacy students, engineering students, and really they have every type of major there that you can think of. They have a program for it, but there's a lot of engineering students, pre-med, pre-pharmacy. If you're thinking about those, University of Buffalo is great for that.
Katey, would you recommend Grand Valley?
I really would recommend Grand Valley. It's a great school. It's newer, so it doesn't have as much of the history as the other schools do, so not as many people know about it. But it was definitely the best fit for me. I liked that it was smaller and everything. And like they said, every school won't be a fit for everyone, but I really like it. The feel of the campus is great, and I feel like the teachers there are really there to help you, and I felt really supported in what I want to do. So it's a great school.
That's awesome. Well, I'll definitely be checking out some of your colleges. They sound very interesting. Thank you for coming in with us today. Thank you for joining us today on College Confidential. I'm Cami Bacon.
I'm Katey Pepin.
I'm Nick Tobiczyk.
I'm Dan Bond.
For M6, your hometown station.